Dave's on. Where are we at? The October 16th, 2023 meeting of the Zionsville Plan Commission will begin. First order of business.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Karen Walker,
Present.
Jim Hurst, absent. Dave Franz, absent. Mary Grabanowski. Oh, Dave Franz.
He's on.
Excuse me.
whoa.
Dave, you're here. Dave Franz.
Yeah, you need to promote him, please. Dun, 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 dun. You won't get the rest and then come back. to
Sure.
Dave.
Mary Grabanowski.
Present.
Chris Lake. Absent. There's David. There you are.
Yep, present.
Great, thank you. Cindy Madrick,
Present.
Larry Jones.
Present. So if anybody's interested, Dave's going to be with us remotely, but then since they need a present person to run the meeting, I'll be doing same. So basically, we've got the first item up, correct? Is where we want to go? Huh?
Minutes.
Yes, sorry. We need approval of the September 18, 2023 regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
So are we going to do a roll call on everything? So we need to start with this. We'll do a roll call vote.
Okay. Larry Jones,
Aye.
Cindy Madrick,
Aye.
Mary Grabanowski,
Aye.
David Franz.
Aye.
Yeah, I'm down here.
Did you hear me?
And
Yeah.
Mary?
I'm
Sharon?
missing Sharon.
Aye.
Thank you.
All good? All right, so the first item of business will be continuances or withdrawal requests. The first one up is 2023-27-C petitioner's continuance for the Atwater rezoning. And we've got a request to continue that to the November 2023 meeting. The meeting is requested by the petitioner. And
I move that we continue the Atwater rezoning until November.
And I'll second.
so once again, we'll need to do a roll call vote.
Dave Franz,
Aye.
Mary Grabanowski,
Aye.
Larry Jones,
Aye.
Sharon Walker,
Aye.
Cindy Madrick.
Aye.
The second is the 2023-36-Z filing for the Century Development at Holiday Farms, the senior living PUD. This one, we've had a second continuance from the adjoining neighborhood HOA. So we're going to go ahead and hear that request for the continuance. Is that correct? And then once done, are we going to continue with, we consider the continuance request? So I guess we need a motion to consider it. The continuation request.
So moved.
Second.
Do we need to have any discussion on it?
So are we moving to consider the continuance, or did you want to get any information on the request for the continuance? Roger, did you have anything to say on it?
I know that the representative from the HOA that has requested that is present tonight. He'd be glad to answer any questions. Steve Jenko.
Good evening. Thanks for letting me speak here tonight.
We always need name and address first, please.
Stephen Genko, 4006 Sugar Pine Lane, Zionsville, Indiana, 46077. So the reason for the continuance is I think we've been working fairly well with both Century and Matt Price and Hinkie. We just have to tie up some loose ends. Basically, I've got about 8 items that they've all agreed to verbally, but we need that to be documented and memorialized into the PUD. The PUD is also not reflective in the map of what we've agreed to. So there's a number of items attached to this that we still need to, I guess, finalize and get documented.
Matt, do you want to comment on same or Mr. Price?
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I echo what Mr. Jenko has said regarding, Matt Price on behalf of Century Development. Thank you. I echo what Mr. Jenko has said. It's been, we've had established a good working relationship, and I do believe we are in agreement on the items that he mentioned in his letter. With Mr. Jenko's permission, though, we presented kind of a truncated presentation last month and thought it might be good for all parties concerned to also hear the Plan Commission's thoughts and considerations on this petition, with the understanding that we need to go back and add in the items that Mr. Jenko has mentioned, as well as address comments from the Plan Commission, which we've not heard today. So if with his permission and with your good graces, we would ask to be able to move forward with the hearing, with the understanding that at the end, we're in agreement that we will need a continuance.
So I think we can accept that request. Is there any discussion amongst us? Dave, thoughts on that?
I'm fine with it.
How do we, is there a way to introduce this then? To make sure we follow through?
I think the goal of Mr. Price's presentation is just get the information out, knowing full well that that information there is going to need to be addressed and then brought back to us in a completed package. And so if there's points after their presentation you would like to make a few comments on, that's fine. But we'll try to kind of limit it to keep it moving forward. That sound good?
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, members of the commission. For the record, once again, my name is Matt Price, attorney for Century Development. If I could ask my colleagues in the back to pull up our PowerPoint. We want to take you through the project and kind of reacquaint ourselves with the proposal, as well as the changes that we've made to it since our last meeting. First off, I have Mr. Jordan Dorsey with Century Development, who is here this evening in the front from the second row. We also have representatives of Hinkie Development, Brad Hinkie, Doug Fleener, who are both here in person, as well as Steve Hinkie and Betsy Garfield, who are available on the Zoom call. And all of us are available to answer any questions that you have. Go to the next slide. Just very briefly, I think everyone is pretty well acquainted with the location, but we are just south of Bridlewood and the emergency access drive that serves Hidden Pines, just north of Interactive Academy and across the road 421 from the Holiday Farms commercial section. It's approximately just under 24 acres in total acreage. The driving element of this proposal is the senior living facility, which is just under 12 acres of that area that we outline as the subject parcel. You go to the next slide. It's intended to be a very high-end senior living community comprised of a number of different care options ranging from independent living to assisted living and memory care. Altogether, a total of 155 units in the proposal in totality. It includes a number of on-site amenities, both inside and outside. including multiple dining options inside, on-site therapy, daily transportation, as you see with some of the other senior living facilities in town, a salon, as well as a therapy pool and spa. You may recall that in that list of amenities, we previously included pickleball courts, and that's one of the items that we've deleted in response to community feedback. So that's no longer listed as one of our bullet points. Go to the next slide. Very high-end architecture. The proposal is housed in an amendment to the Holiday Farm PUD. So what we've done here is taken the Holiday Farm PUD and applied it to this 23 plus acres across the street, including building upon the architectural requirements that are in the Holiday Farm PUD. We've also, in addition, it'll include all the other standards that are applicable to developments within Holiday Farm. So it also applies the landscaping requirements, the lighting requirements, et cetera, are equally applicable to this parcel, not on any lesser scale. And I should add, when we first made the presentation, we had adopted the town's essentially standards for an office complex for both landscaping and lighting. And after meeting with community members in the vicinity, they preferred the standards set forth in Holiday Farm, and in fact wanted to build on those standards, and that's what we've done. And I'll describe that in more detail as we go through the proposal. Next slide. It's again representative of the architectural quality of the proposal. Next slide. And this gives you some flavor for the very high-end interior finishes that are contemplated in senior living. Go to the next slide. Talk about some of the more significant changes we've made to the proposal since we were here last. We were asked by community members to essentially shift and relocate the building on site, both south and to the west. And we've done that, resulting in a 30-foot shift south of the building and a 30-foot shift west of the building. What this allows us to do is a couple of important things. One, we establish a minimum 90-foot building setback to our northern property line. To the eastern property line, as you can tell, the property line itself is not a straight line. So the setback varies, but it's no less than approximately 175 feet from the main senior living building. So not the parking facility, that's a little closer, but from the main building to the property line is no less than 175 feet as you move north to south along that eastern property line. Go to the next slide. This provides some better graphics, I think, illustrating that building relocation, as well as the opportunity that the relocation provides for augmented landscaping along our northern perimeter and our eastern perimeter. And so one of the items that Mr. Genko had mentioned that he had a list of was providing more detail around what our planned plantings would be on that northern property line and eastern property line. And the idea is this, it's a very common sense idea, is that we're working very hard to preserve a very significant portion of the tree stand that exists today between Hidden Pines and this parcel. But during the winter months, many of those trees lose their leaves and neighbors can see through those woods. Obviously today they don't see anything on that parcel because there's nothing there, but they further south, residents of Hidden Pines have experience with the Interactive Academy building, which they can see during the wintertime. And so the idea is to provide additional area for buffering and screening where we can add plantings that will be robust through the winter season and provide additional screening and buffering from those properties, from the building to the west. I'd like to just stay here for just a little bit. The senior living, as I said, comprises approximately half, give or take, of the total proposal, which, as you can see, leaves some areas adjoining US 421, as well as that L shape, if you will, along our southern perimeter. And what we're seeking to do with some modifications is to borrow the same uses that are applicable in the Holiday Farm PUD immediately across the street and apply those and make them permissible on the east side of the street as well, with some very important exceptions. One is, for example, there would not be any multifamily permitted on the east side of the street. In addition, you may have seen in the staff report that Mr. Kilmer noted a variety of kind of institutional type uses that he was suggesting might be appropriate to delete, including things like a post office and some public and kind of semi-public type uses. So what we're trying to do is match those uses across the street to the west with those important limitations. Interestingly, today, the property is zoned SU7, which is not a land use classification that we see very often. It's a special use classification that essentially permits charitable and philanthropic land uses. And land uses not unlike exactly like really what's at the Interactive Academy site itself. And so what we're seeking to do is to create really more commercial, but neighborhood commercial uses that would be complementary to the senior living facility and be available for that remaining balance of the property. Let me mention just a couple other things as well. The northern part of the building is so the area that's closest to Bridalwood is a two-story building. That building on the southern end of the senior living campus is identified as a three-story building. We originally had set the maximum height of that building at 65 feet for a couple of reasons. One, we don't have finalized plans for this actual building on this property yet. One, to provide some flexibility, but we also realized that that height was concerning to neighbors. And so we believe we can maintain that flexibility and reduce it to a maximum of 55 feet from the adjoining grade to the roof ridge line. We would ask that it be that things like chimneys and architectural features be allowed to extend above that 55 feet, and done that recently on some other proposals in Zionsville to establish the actual building height and not measure the actual building height to the tallest feature that may be extending from the roof. Go to the next slide. And fast forward here a couple, there you go. I wanted to also talk about, in your packets, you saw a letter from the Pathways Committee, undoubtedly. One of the very significant topics of conversation relative to this proposal has been the opportunity that this new investment would create to provide resources to construct and complete kind of gaps in our existing perimeter pathways as they exist along 421. And so in kind of this multicolored exhibit, what we're showing there up at the very north is the Appaloosa Crossing multi-use path, which is a path that Appaloosa Crossing is obligated to build to its southern property line. And then in the yellow, you pick up the Bridalwood kind of segment, which is our northern neighbor. In red is the perimeter path for this actual parcel itself. And then the green is the kind of the last leg, if you will, extending down in front of Interactive Academy. And so we're very much interested in including these pathway segments as part of this proposal, and are committed to doing that, really subject to working out the financing mechanism for those with the town. And I think it's fair to say, lost Mr. Jenko. Where'd he go? Oh, there he is. I think it's fair to say that the upshot of the discussions with the neighbors has been is that they want to make sure that that they have a seat at the table in those discussions with the town, and that commitment is really made up front, so that they know that should this proposal be approved, that would be included as part of the undertaking by the developer of the site. And so we're very much engaged in working through that and understand its importance to the neighbors as we work through the final details of this proposal. Mention just a couple other things that are kind of unrelated to pathways, but I wanted to mention them, is that consistent with the Holiday Farm architecture, there's no franchise architecture permitted on the site. So where we are seeking permission to have a restaurant in front of or near the senior living community, there would not be any permitted franchise architecture. It would need to be compatible with the architecture both for Holiday Farm and for the senior living facility itself. The idea is that a coffee shop, a bakery, a neighborhood a kind of grill would be something attractive to nearby residents as well as residents of the senior living community, but it needs to be aesthetically compatible with the surrounding community and with the development internally itself. One of the objectives that Hinkie Development has, of course, is that they're making a tremendous and have made a tremendous investment on the west side of US 421 and want this area to be of the same very high quality architecturally and compatible from a land use standpoint as well. So it not only adds a useful additional commercial uses, but it also can be done in a way that's complementary to the existing investment that's been made by Hinkie Development Group. I think that that provides an overview of the main items. Certainly, we do have details to work through with Hidden Pines and with Bridalwood. Kind of been working in tandem with one another. We view it as a team effort among all those constituencies. I also saw some other letters in the packet, for example, from, I believe, Brittany Chase, that seemed to very much coincide with the comments that we've received from Hidden Pines and from Bridalwood, and we're committed to continuing to work through those details as we go forward. Be happy to answer any questions that you have and appreciate your time this evening.
So at this point, do we want to get, because we skipped over Roger's comments, do we want to move to consider the continuance piece of it, or? Yes, Mr. Jenko, do you have any comments that you would like to add to this for what's been presented? I'm sorry, said I'd let you do that.
Gentlemen in the work in the, if you could go back to the color slide for Mr. Jenko, please. The landscape slide, I think. There you go. Thank you.
So just a couple of, I guess, reactions to that. I think Matt did a good job of summarizing some of our points. On this slide in particular, so one of the issues we have is, you notice that green in the back that's connected to our portion of the property near the lake, it kind of stops there. They're committing to do that all the way across. So this map needs to get updated to depict that. And I guess my only thought is, can Matt agree to items 1 through 7 on the email from Saturday, October 14th that we sent to him?
Yeah, I don't think we don't have any problem with that whatsoever. I think, as Mr. Jenko said at the outset, the devil will be in the details. We need to get that incorporated in writing and circulated to your folks for approval. But yeah, I don't see any reason why we could not.
Thank you.
If I get to this point, we will go ahead and hear Roger's comments.
Yeah. Roger, do you have something to add from staff's perspective?
I'm curious, are we still talking about a continuance or do you want my staff report?
Maybe just highlight if there's some particular concerns you want mentioned, because we will discuss this again next month.
Very well. Many of the comments tonight, not all, but many of them dealt specifically with the proposed senior living facility, such as its architecture and its placement on the site and things like that. And many of those comments would definitely be attributable if we were discussing a development plan petition. But tonight we're discussing a rezoning. And the proposed development of 9 plus minus acres is less than half of the acreage that would be rezoned. So I want to make sure that the focus remains on the rezoning and not the development plan aspect of the senior living facility. To be clear, staff is not opposed to the senior living facility, but again, that's not the petition that's in front of us tonight. One of the concerns that staff has, let me eliminate a couple of the concerns staff has, is what will be developed on the remaining acreage. Proposed uses within the new section of the Holiday Farms PUD are quite broad and should be narrowed. Staff is, again, as I mentioned, staff is not opposed to the proposed development of the senior living facility at the site, but is concerned about the unknown uses of the remaining acreage and how the creation of additional retail or commercial outlots could delay the development of the existing available outlots within Holiday Farms on the west side of Michigan Road. Approval of competing commercial lots. The town went to considerable lengths to upgrade infrastructure, anticipating returns through tax increment financing monies from the development of the commercial outlots in the central mixed use block. To date, one commercial business has pursued and received approval for development within the central mixed use block, while 14 platted outlots remain available. Staff's position is that the petition should receive the comments tonight, but then be continued to the November 20th meeting. This continuance would allow for further discussion and refinement of the proposed PUD ordinance, the opportunity to complete the staff review of a recently provided and updated traffic impact study. There are just a number of items that still need to be addressed within the ordinance, not major items, but just make sure the terminology is carried through from page 1 to page 5 to page 7, things like that. But again, we need to remember this is a rezoning petition at this time.
Thank you.
So are we going to give any of the council commission comments, or should we just move to consider our motion to continuance?
I think we should give some comments because I have some additional, and I think they're asking for our comments so they can incorporate that into the PUD language.
Okay. Dave, do you want to start?
Yeah, Roger, you've got listed on here about 7 items that you think should be removed from the permitted thing. I don't think it goes far enough. And I realize we're talking about the PUD ordinance itself, but the thing about the senior living home facility is the fact that it's probably low impact on traffic, more so than a residential subdivision, et cetera. But I take a look at the use table and there's a lot of things on here that are just going to drive the traffic up to much higher than what potentially a residential use would be. I take a look at a gas station. It's permitted under here. We've got one a mile up the road. Do we need another one this close? Some of these other things, there's a daycare kindergarten right across the street in Holiday Farms. Some of these things that are just higher traffic, I think they should be removed. The then on transportation communication uses, you got antenna. I mean, I realize they're accessory uses, but antenna, co-located antenna, radio, television studio. I mean, do we really want to put that in front of an assisted living home, you know, where we're sitting there on Michigan Road? So I think there needs to be some additional work on this use table to limit either the least attractive or the higher traffic generating businesses.
Anybody else?
Anybody else?
I agree with them. Amen.
Yeah, I was just going to kind of back up exactly what Dave is saying. One of the comments that's rolled around in several of our meetings is a need to update our comprehensive plan. Because, you know, tied to this is what Dave is saying. We've got the farm project that's back on track. They'll have a series of outlots to fill. We've got the 14 across the street that is already developed that currently we have nobody knocking on the door for. Appaloosa Trail has a few yet to fill in. So do we really need any more? Secondly, as much as I appreciate all the character imagery, I want to make sure everybody in the room understands that whatever is currently proposed will not look like any of this imagery. And that I'm just getting kind of tired of seeing the same pictures over and over and the same promise. But what I see here is a retirement center with 4 outlots, and those outlots are being considered for fast food and gas stations, everything else, which is one, not really conveyed through the imagery. 2, it's not really in keeping with, I think, the direction people would like to see Michigan Road go. Final item I've got is I'm not particularly supportive of having the PUD for this parcel be tied to the Holiday Farm PUD. If we're going to have parcels that are being developed and they're requesting a PUD, it should be a standalone document with its own set of specifications. I want to remind everybody that the one project that did get built in the Holiday Farm outlots is a child care center, that the only reason the town really had any say over what it looked like is because they needed a variance. I didn't really get enough time to prepare like I wanted to. I wanted to kind of go back through to make sure that what I'm saying is correct. But I think the reason the building looks like it does is because the BZA had a say in what it looks like, not because it was held to some particularly high standard by the developer. So, you know, given all that, I'm, you know, not particularly supportive of any of this until we get some better documentation and a little higher set of standards, as well as make sure what is being proposed there is things we really actually have a need for and are not, as Roger's pointing out, undercutting what we've currently previously approved, as well as what, you know, the farm is trying to do down at theirs. What I'm seeing in here is kind of a consistent lowering of standards for what we're getting up and down Michigan Road, and I'm not particularly supportive of it. Other than that, I got no opinion.
Thank you, Larry.
I think you covered it.
We want to discuss the continuance, or does anybody else want to make any comments? Sharon, sorry.
I think you've covered about everything I had sticky notes on.
All right,
But,
sorry.
yeah, there's not enough in here to go ahead. I would vote for the continuance for
All right.
sure.
So we have a motion for continuance, right?
In a second.
And a second.
In a second.
You want to take a roll call?
Yep. Dave Franz,
Aye.
Mary Grabanowski,
Aye.
Larry Jones,
Aye.
Sharon Walker,
Aye.
Cindy Madrick.
Aye.
Matters continued. Do we need to announce the date and time? for the-
Yeah, so it's going to be continued to the November 20th, 2023 Plan Commission meeting.
Good.
All right. So next up, we have Stoller Roofing, Office Building, 5898 South 700th Street. Also, we have a continuance to the November 20th, 23 meeting requested by the petitioner. Do we need to make a motion to support that? So can we get a motion to support that continuance request by the
I move
petitioner?
that we approve the continuance request of Stoller Roofing
The November 20th.
to the November 20th meeting.
You're the only second we got.
Second.
That's all right. All right.
I was waiting for Sharon to do it.
Oh,
I was
sorry.
gonna let you have the turn.
All right. All right. We'll get to the next one. All right.
Roll call. Cindy Madrick,
Aye.
Sharon Walker,
Aye.
Larry Jones,
Aye.
Mary Grabanowski,
Aye.
David Franz,
Aye.
motion passes.
So next up, we have Fisher Homes Summers rezoning. They've 7860 South 50 East. The petitioner has submitted a letter of withdrawal. So we just need to note that we are accepting that.
No, you just need to notice it's been withdrawn.
Okay, so notice it's been withdrawn. All right. So next up, we have the town of Zionsville. Lance is going to make a presentation regarding the zone improvement plan ordinance. All right.
Correct. This evening you have for your consideration an ordinance on which you will make a recommendation to the town council. So I'm Lance, Director of Public Works for the town. This is the third of four official steps by this board and the town council to update the road impact fee for the town of Zionsville, which has been in place since 2007. Last time I was with you back in August 21st, we went through the zone improvement plan, the methodology, the committee work that was done to come up with a recommendation. And at their most recent meeting, the town council on October 2nd adopted a mirroring resolution. And each of those served to amend our comprehensive plan by incorporating the zone improvement plan. So as mentioned, you have tonight an ordinance in front of you on which you will also have a public hearing. You had originally advertised this at your September 18th meeting and continued it because the town council had yet to take action on it. In the simplest sense, this ordinance basically rewrites all of chapter 53, section 35 of the Code of Ordinances, which houses the road impact fee actual ordinance portion of that and not just the zone improvement plan. This ordinance establishes, among other things, the new per trip fee at $278.35 per trip. It basically reaffirms many of the things that have been in place since 2007 when the town began collecting road impact fees. It does modernize it a bit. We have a change in governance. Of course, we didn't have a mayor in 2007, and nor did we have a public works department in 2007. So at this point, I could go through this if you like, but maybe I would like even more to stop talking and turn this back to you for discussions, considerations, and questions. And if you are so favorably disposed to make a positive recommendation, I would offer a couple of suggestions that I ran by your attorney prior to the meeting to make sure you incorporate in your motion.
Okay. So, and okay. So this is something we do need to allow a little public hearing on. Is there anyone wishing to speak before, for or against said ordinance? So far, so good. Any commission members with questions or?
I think your report was pretty comprehensive when we got it before, and very necessary, and a good job was done.
Thank you. We certainly did cover a lot in our last conversation, so perhaps we can truncate matters this evening.
So then is there actually a motion in here in our packet?
No, but it would just be a motion to approve the ordinance.
Okay.
So it's your action to take, and that really is a recommendation to the town council.
So Dan, would we have to make that recommendation with the recommended changes that you and Lance have discussed?
Yeah, the two changes are on page 2 at section 1, the repealer. The correct chapter number is 50.
Would be chapter 53, section 35.
Okay.
And then the other change is the effective date because of the delay on page 12 should be April 23rd.
Correct.
Correct, 2024. It's 6 months after adoption, so the delay has caused that to be changed.
And I would also make the recommendation that you strike the words "which is" there in that same section 20 and replace it with the word "or." That way, if the town council does not take action on this 1 week from now, we don't have to come back because we have a date in there. We can say it's the 23rd or no sooner than 6 months after adoption by the town council. Because this is an ordinance, this will be a two-step process for them. They have the option to suspend the rules and consider on first reading at their next meeting, or they may introduce it and then take final action at a subsequent meeting. So let's not lock ourselves into a date and make sure there's some flexibility to allow the council to manage their process.
So with that, I would recommend a motion that would incorporate the changes as noted by Mr. Lance. And I think they are changes which should be made.
Those are 3 edits, right? Is that right?
Yes.
3 edits, 1 on page 2, and then 2 on page 12.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So there's a motion to approve those and then a motion to recommend.
No, you can just make a motion to recommend with the changes that Mr.
Okay.
Lance has pointed out.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we approve this, this ordinance with the changes that have been pointed out to us.
Second.
And a roll call
Roll
vote.
call. David Franz,
Aye.
Mary Grabanowski,
Aye.
Larry Jones,
Aye.
Sharon Walker,
Aye.
Cindy Madrick.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Good.
All
All
right.
right, so next up, we,
Thanks, Lance.
yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So next we have up is the Bradley Ridge PUD rezoning for the parcels at 1120, 1310, 1515 South US Highway 421, and 1555 South 950 East, and 9625 East 100 South, approximate addresses. So we'll start with Roger first, get back on track.
Thank you very much. Before we get into the staff report, I'd like to read a statement that was provided by both the counsel for the petitioner and also the counsel for an organized group of remonstrators. That being, staff is aware that the petitioner and representatives of Save Rural Zionsville have been working to refine the proposal. Those discussions are anticipated to continue. We, including staff, have discussed the procedural posture for the petition with both the petitioner and the representatives of Save Rural Zionsville, and believe it is appropriate to go forward with the hearing so that the Plan Commission may ask questions and provide comments while permitting the petitioner to return to the Plan Commission next month with revisions. This would be with the understanding that the public hearing would remain open in November for testimony and public. So if I could have IT turn my screen or project my screen onto the big screens, please. Yes, sir. Need me to move over there? As mentioned, the petition before us this evening is a rezoning of approximately 349 acres consisting of 9 parcels from the rural general agricultural district, the rural single family residential R1 district, and the rural single and 2-family residential R2 districts, and also being within the rural Michigan Road overlay to the PUD or planned unit development district. On the screen, you'll see I have the subject property outlined in black, comes across extends from 100 south with the western border of the property being County Road 950 east all the way down to 200 south, then over to the Eagle Creek tributary, which basically comes up and bisects the site. But at this point here, the parcel subject property moves to the east and then back down to 200 south, continuing eastward, then north up to Michigan Road, and then back up again, comprising almost 349 acres. The property is currently governed by, as I mentioned, 3 different zoning districts. Majority of the property on the east side of Eagle Creek, this lighter green colored area is zoned agricultural. Property on the west side of Eagle Creek, this darker green is zoned R1. And then we have a thin area, this pink area, which is zoned R2. In rezonings, one of the key factors that Plan Commission and Town Council will want to be aware of is what does the comprehensive plan call for? In this area, we're looking at the area comprehensive plan map that was adopted by Boone County. And since our comprehensive plan has not been updated since, we still utilize this for those areas that were reorganized and adopted into our jurisdiction. The area of Bradley Ridge is outlined here in a blue circle. It is identified as Ag General. You do see again the Eagle Creek floodway going through the middle. Also within the comprehensive plan, in 2021, the town adopted the airport area strategic land use plan. This included a housing compatibility map and identifies areas surrounding the airport where residential development should be prohibited, which is tier 1. And that is identified by this purplish or darker blue area. This is tier 1. And as you see, it does impact a portion of the northern part of the subject site. The remainder of the Bradley Ridge PUD area falls within tier 4, which is there are no limitations for residential development within tier 4. Final map that I want to share with you from the comprehensive plan is from the Zionsville Strategic Trails Implementation Plan. This shows a proposed greenway following the pathway of Eagle Creek up, and this area would be the Carpenter Nature Preserve and continues it northward. The area of the Bradley Ridge PUD is again outlined here, now in red, and you see the pathway going right through the middle of that area. The proposal as submitted now does comply with this strategic trailsway plan. They are proposing, the petitioner is proposing to develop a 12-foot wide recreation path through the middle of the development. Again, bringing it into compliance with the comprehensive plan for trails. The proposed development of a single family residential subdivision would be a departure from the recommendation of agricultural uses in the comprehensive plan, but the development would comply with the airport area strategic land use plan and the 2016 strategic trails implementation plan, which was with the reference modifications to text in the Bradley Ridge PUD ordinance. The project description, again, we're talking about rezoning 349 acres for the development of a mixed use development of up to 290 family dwellings with areas for cultural entertainment uses and recreational uses included. As proposed, the Michigan Road overlay would not apply to the use and development of the site. The site is bisected, as I mentioned earlier, by Eagle Creek, running primarily north and south through the property. This is the use block plan for the Bradley Ridge PUD. And the site would be divided essentially into two use blocks. The first use block is a residential lifestyle use block that is identified by the lighter green area in this area, and also the area on the west side of Eagle Creek. Within this residential use block area, it includes the Bradley Ridge Clubhouse, pool, and amenity area. The second use block that is identified is the amenity and nature preserve use block, and that is primarily the area that runs along Eagle Creek and is impacted greatly by the floodplain area. It is this darker green area. No residences are proposed for that area. The community and amenity nature preservation use block is intended to provide primarily outdoor areas of recreation, both passive and active, cultural entertainment uses and recreational uses identified within the Bradley Ridge PUD ordinance's use table would also be permitted in this use block. It's important to note that the PUD ordinance does state in section 11.9, the uses within the residential and lifestyle use block and community amenity and nature preservation use block shall be connected to water and sewer. A letter from Hamilton Southeastern Utilities has confirmed this area is within their service jurisdiction. The development will be served with vehicular entries on US Highway 421, Michigan Road. One entry would be here, would also be served by an entry off of County Road 200 South, would be in this location. And there would be a third point of access for emergency and vehicular use only on County Road 950 East. It is noted that County Roads 100 South along the northern edge of the PUD and 950 East are currently gravel roads and will not be improved as paved roads. The petitioner acknowledges that roadway improvements are items still to be discussed and finalized with the town, Boone County Highway, and NDOT. A couple of items for interest. The proposed PUD is not consistent with the future land use designation of the comprehensive plan as it recommends agricultural use. Staff believes the proposal is consistent with the conservation of property values in the immediate area. However, the extension of utilities to the site will likely attract further development to this area. Staff's position is that the petition should be heard tonight to receive comments from the Planning Commission and the public, and then continue to the November 20th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting. This continuance would allow for the refinement of text within the proposed PUD ordinance, allow the petitioner to further address items noted within the comment letters, including further roadway improvement discussions, and address comments provided by the Planning Commission and the public from the hearing. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
I have a question, Roger. The Zionsville comprehensive plan was amended to include Boone County, section of Boone County's comp plan, is that correct?
The original comprehensive plan that we have, the base part of it, was initially adopted in 2002, 2003. Since then, it has gone through some amendments of different types, one being the airport land use study that I referenced. But there have been different updates to different sections of the comprehensive plan since its original adoption. The area, those areas that were reorganized and now are underneath the jurisdiction of the town of Zionsville, those areas where our comprehensive plan did not update to incorporate those areas, the town has chosen to essentially adopt and go by the guidance of the Boone County comprehensive plan for those areas at that time. Again, they have not been updated yet. I know that the town's goal is to hopefully start that updating process as soon as next year. But right now, this is the best that we have to go on for
So the
guidance
town did adopt the Boone County comp plan for this area.
for this area. Yes.
Thank you.
Roger, I have a question. When I was reading yesterday, on page 3, staff did a calculation that said it was kind of estimated on if it was how many single family dwellings there would be if they followed the zoning that's there, which sounded like 156 homes. Is that correct? Could you just expand a little bit on what you can, I guess, on how you came up with that?
This is a very delicate portion of the report that I need to make very clear. It is not an absolute, because there are many variables that go into this calculation. Amount of floodplain that's involved. When you start talking about 3 different zoning classifications on the property currently, one of those and the largest portion of the site is agricultural. Well, in agricultural, you're not allowed to have a major residential subdivision. So that would mean it would be limited to possibly multiple minor subdivisions, or do you rezone it to an R1 or an R2 to come up with that number? Again, there are many variables that go into that number, so please do not take it as an absolute. And again, also going back to the acreage, that is something that was not surveyed. It was determined off of the mapping from our GIS system, which I'm sure there's a plus or minus involved in that as to its accuracy. But there are just many different factors that go into that, and staff through multiple efforts, that's the number that we arrived at.
But is it safe to say that the 156 was arrived at taking the acreage of the R1 that's existing, taking the acreage of the R2, and then taking the agricultural, and without subtracting out for roads or, any other things, just kind of, is that where the number was based off of? Just, houses per acre, or?
For the sections, for the areas that are zoned R1 and R2, those calculations are straightforward. That's easy to do.
Okay.
It's when you get to the ag district, which again is majority of the site, but then we also have to subtract out floodplain areas.
Okay.
So again, we estimated, I believe it was 115 acres of the site was going to be impacted by floodplain. So that reduces numbers down. That changes numbers greatly. But again, also trying to factor in how could residential be developed on a piece that is currently agriculturally zoned. Again, not permitting major residential subdivisions, but it would permit minor residential subdivisions, which are 3 lots or less. And unfortunately, there are ways that the ordinance could be manipulated where multiple minor subdivisions could be developed on that parent parcel. And so that's where staff made mention that there would need to be multiple zoning approvals. That's what I'm referring to, is a petitioner would have to come through over and over and over again to get minor subdivisions approved for this large agricultural piece of ground.
And then you need multiple curb cuts and and then there's utilities. Okay.
Again, many different approvals would be required for that.
Got it.
Thank
All
you.
right. Should we request any presentation from the petitioner?
Thank you, Mr. Jones, members of the Plan Commission. Matt Price here on behalf of Hinkie Development Group. Like to make a presentation concerning Bradley Ridge this evening and show the revisions that we've made to the plan since our initial presentation a couple of months ago. I do want to reiterate something that Mr. Kilmer said at the outset of his comments, and is that counsel for Sabriel, Zionsville, and myself crafted the language that he read at the beginning of the proposal, where we requested that if it's your will, that the hearing remain open to the November meeting to allow additional time for public comment. And having just received the staff report ourselves on Friday morning, it would also provide additional time for the petitioner to respond to certain of the statements that are made in the staff report that are somewhat surprising, and I think have some omissions that need to be addressed as the Plan Commission deliberates about this proposal. But I did want to reiterate that. If I could ask for the presentation to be uploaded. You take care of this presentation. Okay. First of all, let me just start off with kind of an overview of where we started and where we are today with the revisions that have been made after consultation and meetings with community members, including representatives from Zionsville. If you go to the first slide, please. This is the initial use block plan that was presented to the Plan Commission back on July 17th. And you'll see that it shows the centrally located amenity area. It shows the perimeter pathways where the project fronts the perimeter street system. It does not show a trail going through the center of the property adjacent to Eagle Creek. And this proposal was for a maximum of 410 total dwelling units. We've made substantial revisions to the proposal since this time, and I want to outline the major items that have been incorporated to date, as well as items that are still under discussion but agreed upon. If you go to the next slide. First off, we've agreed to a reduction in the total number of dwellings from the originally proposed 410, which included 60 townhouses, to a total of 290 single-family homes only. It would not include any townhouse proposal. So the makeup of that 290 is 250 single-family homes on the east side of Eagle Creek and a maximum of 40 single-family homes on the west side of Eagle Creek. We did add over 1 mile of public trail system that would be located on the west side of Eagle Creek. And as that footnote and as Roger's comments mentioned, that is as called for by the Strategic Trails implementation plan. We've also agreed to limit the number of access points, as Roger explained, off of US 421, off of County Road 200, and to make the access point off of County Road 950 for emergency access only. And that does require some ingenuity by the developer, which is that in order to use that County Road 950 access point for emergency only, that there will be a requirement to build a bridge over Eagle Creek. That is part of the proposal that we're moving forward with in connection with this project. We've also made clear that, again, with the pickleball courts, that they'll be on the east side of Eagle Creek, and they'll either be inside a building or if they're outside, they'll be screened by noise attenuating plantings. So spruce trees and evergreen trees to attenuate the noise. Another major point of discussion was the property along 421 has a significant row of very prominent tall pine trees. And there's a commitment contained in the PUD as revised that would preserve those pine trees. And we've provided for an enhanced greenbelt buffer throughout the entire project between proposed home locations and any existing home site today. So we've built that into the PUD up front. We also have a number of items that are still being discussed that are not part of the PUD that you have in front of you, but they're very recent discussions that we're working on. We've actually incorporated them in for exchange with representatives of Save Rural Zionsville, but given the timeliness of those materials, we did not submit those to the town yet, but I can go through those as well. Go to the next slide. These are other items that we've talked about, some of which will be incorporated and have been incorporated into the PUD that the parties have exchanged, others of which will probably be better suited for individualized commitments. But one of the items that Save Rural Zionsville has come up with is a concept of an Eagle Creek zone within which there would be no tree removal. And we're proposing a 50-foot setback on each side of Eagle Creek measured from the top of Brink, from which no trees would be removed. That would be only subject to the items necessary to build the bridge, for example. In other words, if the tree removal was necessary to carry out another commitment in the PUD, that would be a basis for that. We've also agreed to essentially a no structure zone in the southwest corner of the property that will just be left undisturbed, either for plantings of wildflowers, could be for crops, but no structures permitted except for utilities. We've added substantial number of provisions regarding increased limitations on lighting. We received a number of comments in that particular area, and we've worked through and added that detail in several places, including providing for no lighting at the County Road 950 entrance. And I don't see any reason why we could not do that. That's consistent with other emergency access locations that we've seen around town. Late last week, we received a request about whether it would be possible to relocate the 950 entrance a little further north. I think 100 feet was mentioned in the correspondence. We have agreed to that as well. And then we've talked about with regard to limiting or preventing construction traffic on County Road 950, basically a protocol that would be followed by the developer with regard to signage and supervision that would assure that since we're going to the lengths we are to prevent construction traffic on 950, that we would have a protocol in place in the form of a commitment that would assure that additional steps were being taken so that so that it had teeth to it as we move forward. We've also discussed a number of covenants. What we did was we exchanged with Save Rural Zionsville the covenants that are the homeowner covenants applicable to Holiday Farm. And counsel for Save Rural Zionsville had gone through the individual covenants and suggested a number of places where they would like to see some items augmented. And I'll give you an example. One of the provisions is adding a covenant that would prohibit the homeowner from removing a tree from the property without the consent of the controlling developer. The idea being that one of the overarching objectives of the project is to limit tree removal, to preserve as many trees as possible. And this would be a covenant to assure that in the post-development phase and when it's occupied, that would the spirit of that commitment would continue. We've also done a number of revisions to the use table where we clarified some things about where certain uses would be located, including, for example, we have provisions for a restaurant and potentially a wine bar. The idea, though, is for those to be in the clubhouse and restricted to residents and their guests. It's not the intention. And we made it clear in the revisions that those uses would be not open to the public generally at all. That's an example of the further clarifications we've made to the use table. Go to the next slide. So this is the updated concept plan as you have it in your packets today. Just kind of going around the horn a little bit. Start in the northwest corner. We've removed any dwellings from the tier 1 designation that covers the property by virtue of the airport study. So that area has been specifically identified on the concept plan. We've continued to delineate the Bradley Ridge amenity area and nature preserve use block, which is the darker shaded green. As I mentioned, there is the southwest corner no structures zone, which is really that area kind of in the very southwest corner where you see that pond in the southwest corner. That would be where there are no above ground structures except for utility locations to be there. And on that entire side of the property west of Eagle Creek, that's 150 acres, and we would be limited to 40 total single family homes. The gold kind of meandering trail that you see is the Eagle Creek Trail, if you will, over a mile in length. That would serve as a very important linkage between County Road 200 and hopefully in the future extend all the way to the nature preserve further north, making it a very important public amenity right through the center of the project. Then on the east side, in kind of the lighter green, is the remainder of our the residential use block. And again, on the east side, which is currently, as Roger mentioned, currently zoned agricultural, there'd be a maximum of 250 single family homes. So the townhouse use block has been eliminated from this area. The beige area is the clubhouse and pool area where I mentioned the restaurant use and amenities for residents of the community would be located. That's an overview of the concept plan. I did want to speak to a couple of the other items that were mentioned, in particular relative to the comprehensive plan. If we could keep going, next slide, and advance once again. That's kind of the tier 1 zone that's out of the airport study. And again, we've delineated that as being an area where there will not be any residential dwellings. Go to the next slide. This is a page from the proposed future land use map. I want to clarify that I do not believe that the town of Zionsville has adopted the Boone County Comprehensive Plan. I think what Zionsville did was adopt its own comprehensive plan relative to areas that were reorganized. And then from that going forward, they've amended, or the town has amended the comprehensive plan to include such items as the future land use map that's contained in the airport study, where the town spent over a year reviewing these land uses, reviewing the tier 1 zone designation, and incorporating these plans into our comprehensive plan. I attended every one of those meetings over the course of a year and participated in that dialogue, and Hinkie Development participated in that process as well. And the entire area, and this is why it's important for the deliberations tonight and going forward, that entire area is in what's called the estate conservation and residential area. It's not referred to as an agricultural area. And in fact, what the area specifically contemplates is future residential development. And what it notes in that plan is that once utilities are extended to that area, it would justify densities ranging from, or excuse me, lot sizes ranging from 0.6 acres per lot to 1 acre per lot. And so 0.6 acres is about 1.7 homes per acre. Obviously, a 1 acre lot would be 1 home per acre, which would be around 350 home sites on a 350 acre plot as we have here. And it's not done to necessarily raise densities in the area, but what was observed is that this area is ideal for residential development because of its aesthetics. It's going to be highly desirable. It is equipped with the Eagle Creek corridor, making the properties very suitable for a conservation subdivision, a subdivision where you could reduce the size of the lots below what the rather large lot standards are today and preserve more of the green space and more of the green space and natural features that really define the property. And that's exactly what we've done here. We have nearly 45% of the total land area is open space. It includes the entire Bradley Ridge preserve area. And what we've done is shrink the lot sizes, hold the total number of lots at 290, and provide for maximizing the preservation of green space for the project. And so in that regard, we believe we are completely consistent with the comprehensive plan for this area in its most recent iteration, which I think recognizes the future likelihood that these properties would be used for residential purposes. In fact, I think it's exactly why the tier 1 designation was necessary as kind of an overlay on that, because it was anticipated that the area would be developed for residential uses, and there needed to be some provision taken for removing those dwellings from areas that were in the east-west, the future east-west runway flyover area. We are again, as I mentioned, we received the staff report on Friday. It was the first time I had seen any kind of a calculation indicating that only 156 homes could be built on 350 acres. And I can say we disagree with that notion, as you might expect. And our colleagues representing Saverville, Zionsville came up with a very different number as well, employing their own expert review. My analysis of how you get to 156, just on kind of the back of the napkin level analysis at this point, but the only way I think you get to 156 is if you say there's absolutely no development utilizing any portion of the floodplain, even just including that floodplain as part of the lot area, let alone whether you're using it as a building area or not. And so I think that misuse of the floodplain, or not perhaps fully realizing how that floodplain could be utilized in creating a functional lot, distorts and reduces the overall number of lots that you would otherwise see for this area. Be that as it may, I think the comprehensive plan indicates that it is supporting densities at a higher level than certainly what the current zoning would permit, or even that it would be desirable to have future development with those large lot sizes, for the very reason that the comprehensive plan points out, which is that the large lot sizes cause the green space to be eaten up into lots. And that's not what we want to see. What we want to see is the preservation of the green space. And so we believe we've reached a very sensible kind of a baseline number with the representatives of Saverville, Zionsville with regard to the 290. We think it sets a very important precedent going forward, which is that the density is significantly less than 1 unit an acre on a 350 acre parcel, and that the land area that has the most sensitive aesthetic and natural features, 150 acres, is limited to only 40 homes. We think that sets an excellent precedent going forward for the town as future proposals in the coming years will be identified and reviewed. Mr. Hinkie and Betsy Garfield are available on the Zoom, as are Brad and Doug. We're happy to answer any questions that you have and appreciate your time this evening. Thank you.
Commission member questions? Or should we go ahead and get,
I have written as fast as my little hand will go. I need to see all this in writing in an orderly fashion. My notes are not that good.
and the other question is, do we want to get demonstrators and others? So,
Yeah, they need to.
so we thought we might request Mr., is it Rodolfo, if he would like to speak first, and then if there's any other members or participants that would like to make statements that they then could follow up, but just as usual, try to keep it to something new.
Hi, my name is Christy Wright, and I'm representing Save Rural Zionsville, speaking on behalf of Tony Rodolfo today. He had to leave to be with an ailing family member. So thank you all. Let me tell you my address. My address is 9301 East 180 South, and I'm here today speaking on behalf of Save Rural Zionsville, as we just mentioned. We have been working along with members of our group. We have more than 300 residents who are signed up with us. We've been working with the developer and his council on this project and believe we're very close to completing our discussions. We've also been meeting with town council. And just last week, we met with 3 members, including the president of town council, and they asked that we continue to work with the developer over the next few weeks to see if we can reach an agreement on a project that our collective group can get behind. We hope that at the next meeting, we'll stand before you and say that we support the project, but we ask that you hold open public comments until November so that we can lodge any concerns we have about the project at the November meeting if our discussions with the developer fall through. I'd also like to just add one additional point of clarification related to the density number. And would just like to say that unofficial conversations with Plan Commission staff and calculations by Save Rural Zionsville's engineer indicate that depending on the interpretation of the subdivision control ordinance, between 156 and 269 lots could be allowed with current zoning. Until the latest staff report was posted, we were unaware that a final determination had been made. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Terry Borman. I live at 2714 South, 1200 East in Zionsville. And I've lived there for over 30 years. While I know they're working through several concerns with the proposed Bradley Ridge PUD, my specific concern is with regards to providing sewers to the development. There is currently no sewers available to the area. The proposed PUD, as mentioned by Roger Kilmer, is in the Hamilton Southeastern Utility Service District. I have talked to them, and they do not currently have pipeline or infrastructure to that whole entire service area. They have been in discussions with Trico Utilities and Citizens Energy Group to provide sewer lines to their service area. My understanding is that if Hamilton Southeastern Utility selects Trico Utility to provide the pipeline, the proposed sewer route will once again be through my property. And in fact, looking at the presentation tonight from Mr. Price, they show a sanitary sewer connection just south of the airport. And if that's the one they're using, there is no connection there. The connection there will be once they go through my property. As presented to the Plan Commission last year in regards to the Silverthorne subdivision, the Trico Utility Sewer route to the Bradley Ridge PUD would require them to use eminent domain against my property and other neighboring properties for a permanent sewer easement to install a 12-inch main sewer line to service the PUD. The proposed route across my property, which is approximately 600 feet long and 30 to 40 feet wide, will essentially cause me to lose almost half of my mature woods. The woods are my buffer to the subdivision that used to be farmland to the west of me and provides both privacy, light, and noise buffers. Okay. I'm requesting that the Hinkey Development Group make a commitment that any sewer infrastructure needed to the Bradley Bridge BD does not require eminent domain to be imposed against my property or any other property. Thank you for your time and consideration.
I'm sorry, yeah, is there someone online that would like to speak?
There we go. My name is Bill Fry. I'm the president of the Hamilton County Airport Authority. And I'm speaking for the airport, which is at 11329 East State Road 32. I wanted to join you all in person tonight, but you can tell I've got laryngitis, and so I'll try to make this brief. I wanted to bring up the airport land use study that we did jointly with Zionsville a couple of years ago, and that it designated the area that's under question, which is currently agricultural, as a state conservation residential district. And the report states the intent is for this area to remain low density, estate residential, with a heavy emphasis on preservation of tree canopy and environmental resources. So I'm just want to make sure that it doesn't sound to me like a PUD meets that criteria. So I just wanted to make that statement.
Thank you much. Do we have anybody else out there wants to speak?
Hi, my name's Jeff Running. I live at 3597 Sugar Pine Lane in Zionsville. And I have been looking with increasing alarm at developments like Appaloosa Crossing and the development we talked about tonight north of Interactive Academy, and now this proposal. And it seems to me it's development for development's sake, and then doesn't seem to be any objective good to it. Especially in the current election cycle, you hear a lot of people talking about sustainable growth. And as a retired biologist, I'm here to tell you there is no such thing as sustainable growth. There seems to be no objective reason to turn Zionsville into another Carmel and another area, just go up to 151st and Shelbourne and see what the future of Zionsville is like. I don't see any benefit to this development other than money in someone's pocket, other in Hankey's pocket or in the pocket of the town of Zionsville and property taxes. This board and the people in general seem to give no value to the nature itself, the wildlife space itself. There is an inherent value in that wild space that no one seems to be considering. And there is a big cost to destroying it because the development will destroy that space as a wildlife habitat. People seem to think that in order to be a better Zionsville, you need to be a bigger Zionsville, which doesn't make any sense to me. I think most of the people here who live in Zionsville would disagree with the fact that a bigger Zionsville is a better Zionsville. I think if you took a poll, you'd find that most people think that a bigger Zionsville is worse Zionsville. There is, as a biologist that I know of, in the history of the earth, there has been 5 mass extinctions. We're going through the 6th mass extinction right now. This one is man-made. And the reason the 6th mass extinction is occurring is not because of climate change, it's because of habitat destruction. And habitat destruction occurs 1 million times around the world every day. And it does it at the hands of boards like this and people on the boards like this who are responsible for that habitat destruction. So I highly recommend that you forward a unfavorable recommendation to the town council for this piece of property. Mr. Price was going on and on bragging about the preservation of green space. If you want to preserve the green space, don't develop it at all. You could preserve a lot of green space simply by not developing it. Thank you.
Any other comments? We move to questions, comments from commission members. So any comments from commission members or?
I just have one question. So when I look at the pedestrian network accessibility for the strategic trails implementation plan, obviously anything parks wise is open and accessibility to anyone. And I went through it yesterday afternoon and did control finds this morning, trying to figure out, and it looks like you certainly have language that gated would be allowed, but it doesn't really say whether it is or it isn't. I'm just perplexed at how you can have this trail going through there. I mean, are people supposed to knock on the gate and ask permission to go through or what? So.
No, it's a very good question. The PUD does permit gated entrances for vehicular access, but the trail is open to the public.
So it would have a different entrance that.
Yeah, the trail goes through right through the center of the development, and we
Well,
would
I
have.
saw it kind of go along
Yeah.
200 on the side, and I wondered.
Right. We have the obligation under the ordinance to also have a perimeter pathway. So you could access the perimeter pathway and get on the greenway through the center of the project.
So it's bikes, walkers, golf carts.
Correct. Limited to those three things.
Thank you.
This is Dave. I just want to get a clarification from Roger. I don't think you've made a definitive statement as to it's exactly 156, sites that could be built on this. I mean, that's based upon your current interpretation. Is that correct?
It is correct. It is not a definitive number.
I just wanted that for clarification.
So my general concern with this is it's not really a 359 acre development, but it's something that affects more like 1,000 acres. The core concern here is that, once we if a project like this gets approved, the connection to the utilities cause problems on both ends. One problem with just what is the route? How's it get there? Who's it affect? And two, what's the net effect of then having sewers and utilities in these areas to the balance of the surrounding properties? I'm going back to my comments earlier about our comprehensive plan. We're even sitting here right now and having you tell us what our comprehensive plan is. Is it in the documents that we go through and see online? Is it something else that you provided that was created by the airport authority? Is it adopting something that Boone County did? What exactly is it? Plus what we do have. And then finally, there's actually what the land is zoned, which once again, Zionsville didn't really have any control over. So it all kind of moves back to the simple fact that we are dealing with a round of information that it's 20 plus years old. I had a fine afternoon of reading the 20-year-old comprehensive plan. Plus I went through and read the sewer update utility plan. And for anybody in the audience, it's some fine, interesting stuff, but it does get back to the issue of if we are going to at some point ever move forward with developing these properties, how are the utilities going to be brought in there? How's it going to get phased in? Where's it all going to go? I'm known for saying, you don't own the view. If you acquire a piece of property, you need to do your own personal due diligence to understand what's around you. Just because you like the view today doesn't mean it needs to stay. But when it comes to the zoning of the property around you, I do think you have a belief, or you do have a certain amount of right to expect that zoning should stay for some set period of time. And hence that's what a comprehensive plan does. It allows everybody to have the voice in what is the future development of this area. And the plan that we have is pretty old. before the meeting, we have a little pre-meeting, and one of the comments I brought up to Roger, and he kind of read it back in, is that there's a line in there that says it's under, requirements for rezoning. Item 5, responsible development and growth. It says planned orderly development of property is a key component in the conservation of property values. So in other words, the only way to conserve something is to change it, which goes back to the individual just got up and spoke about biology. Secondly, it says staff believes that the proposal is consistent with the conservation of property values in the immediate area. However, the extension of utilities to the site will likely attract further development to the area. So in other words, to preserve and conserve the values of the property in the area, we need to change things. But if we change it, we don't really know the full extent of what we're going to get and how that'll affect the values of what we're trying to conserve. It's a loopy kind of statement, and it's the kind of statement that's created by the simple fact that, as much as we cite Carmel and Fishers and everybody else who we don't want to become, at least when it comes to Carmel, they've got a plan. You may not like Brainerd's plan, you may not believe in it, you may see some holes in it, but from the mayor's office, through the staff, through their council people, through everybody else, there's a plan over there. And as a developer, when you come before Carmel, you're told right off whether or not you're meeting the plan. A core issue we have here in Zionsville is that we don't have a plan. Myself, I might as well be Aaron Burr, and maybe I'm just not in the room where it happens, but I think that the gist of it is the town of Zionsville needs to update their comprehensive plan. They need to have a plan, and then they need to elect some leadership that's going to implement that plan. Without it, you get what the individual said before, is it's left to us up here to make these decisions. And it's left to our staff to try to interpret what is wanted when the staff itself isn't given a direction. So I guess there's a general motion out there that there's a request to continue this. And if we want to do that, somebody needs to motion for same. If not, I'll make a motion.
I move the docket number 2023-28-Z, a petition for zone map change to rezone 349 plus or minus acres, consisting of 9 parcels from rural general agriculture, rural single-family residential, and rural single and 2-family residential districts within the rural Michigan Road overlay to the planned unit development PUD district, with recommendation being certified to the town council for adoption or rejection. Be continued to the November 20th, 2023 Plan Commission meeting.
Second.
Roll call. Cindy Madrick,
Aye.
Sharon Walker,
Aye.
Larry Jones,
Aye.
Mary Grabanowski,
Aye.
David Franz.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, so up next, we have Henke Development, Holiday Farm, Section 10, Dartmoor Court. Petition for approval of primary plat. Should we put these two together, or we're doing them separate? Is that all right? I think we're going to put together docket number 2023-42-PPA, along with docket 2023-43-DPA, so we get a single presentation. Prefer to have motions separately on each. Keep it straight. Matt, is that you again? Oh, Roger's doing it. All right.
As mentioned, we have 2 companion petitions to be heard at the same time. There is a primary plat amendment and a development plan amendment. I'm sorry, I have the wrong screen up. Hold on one moment. There we go. And this is for section 9, a portion of section 9 of Holiday Farms, which will be known as section 10. The petition is for the approval of primary plat amendment and the related development plan approval to subdivide 2.708 acres into 7 single-family lots. There are 4 waivers of the subdivision control ordinance are also requested as part of the primary plat approval. Those 4 waivers are for design speed standards, street blade standards, design and construction standards for typical residential cross-section, and design and construction standards for driveway spacing from intersections. These same 4 waivers have been requested for each of the previous residential sections of Holiday Farms and have been granted. To orient you to where we're looking at, on the map on the screen, you see this is the area of Holiday Farms. And specifically, we're talking about this small area of that portion. It is the extreme northeastern corner of the development. I'll move on to the next slide. This is the zoning map that shows the area in question is part of the PUD. Immediately to the east of the site, first of all, Michigan Road is creating the frontage of the area, but then on the east side of Michigan Road, you have Bridlewood Court. Then to the south, we have the area of we discussed earlier this evening for the proposed rezoning for Holiday Farms. To the south, we have a number of the different residential areas of Holiday Farms, but also the commercial section. And then to the north, we have residential R2 districts, again, to the north. This is the final section of Holiday Farms that would be platted and developed for single-family lots. Now, to give you a better idea of where within Holiday Farms we're talking, again, this is the overall area. We're talking about this very small section where the hand is right now. And to blow that up, again, here is the entirety of Holiday Farms. We're talking about just this very small area that is shaded up in the far northeast corner of the development. Would consist of 7 residential lots, 3 along the north side of this extension of Dartmoor Court, and 4 lots along the south side of that extension. Again, everything to the west of this area has already been platted for single-family lots, as well as those lots to the south. This remaining area had been platted as a Block A of Section 9. And so what they're wanting to do is take Block A and turn it into 7 residential lots. There is, at the end of this street extension of Dartmoor Court, it's currently being shown as a dead end. And I know that the fire department has already had discussions with the petitioner about replacing this dead end with an appropriate turnaround to accommodate their fire apparatus. That discussion and design has been taking place. And we believe we have arrived at the design that will work for there, but that is one of the remaining comments within the staff report, is something that does need to be finalized. Again, this is the last section of Holiday Farms to be platted for residential use. There are really no unique features or items to raise yellow flags or red flags on this. It's just the completion of the overall development. So staff is in a position for a favorable recommendation for a conditional approval of the primary plat amendment and the development plan for the area to be known as Section 10 in Holiday Farms. The reason why it's conditional, it's still subject to the resolution of the remaining staff comments. Again, a lot of the staff comments are figuratively speaking, crossing T's and dotting I's on items. So I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have.
So with the creation of that turnaround, are they going to lose that berm from Michigan Road?
No, the design that has been proposed is actually, if you would envision a Y at the end of this road where they'd be able to pull forward and then back up into the opposite leg of the Y and then go ahead and pull out. To say it won't impact that berm, if it does, it would be minimally impacting that berm.
I was also looking, just unrelated, but to the additional lots directly to the south that wrap the old farmhouse. So we've approved all those as well, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Basically, this little corner up through here is just going to be all single family homes when it's all said and done, wrapped around the existing farmstead, for lack of a better term.
Yes, the farmstead is actually to the south. It is not even on this drawing.
Correct.
It's further
No, I'm
south.
looking at some of the other documents you have here. It's just
I can go back to the overall
that one.
here. If you look on the screen, again, the hand is on top of the area we're talking about tonight.
Correct.
The historic homestead is down here.
And have they come up with a use for that yet?
We do know of someone that is looking to convert that use. I don't know if I'm at liberty to say right now, so I'm going to pause and not say that.
Okay.
Okay, I'll let you do that. Any other questions for me?
No.
All right.
All right. Any comments from the audience? I'm sorry. Petitioner.
Yeah, Brad Hankey Development Group, 781 Old Ashbury Road, Westfield, Indiana. Thanks, Roger. Appreciate you going through all that. To Larry's comment earlier, that is just the continuation of what we're taking through last time. We didn't quite have the drawings done in time, so we weren't able to add it last time, but they are the similar size lots, what we're doing to the south. Those will be all custom homes in the $1 million to $2 million range in that area. Regarding the old farmhouse, we're working with the local resident, really excited, Tracy Guerin Tacos. She has started a new brokerage. She was with Encore Sotheby's called The Agency. And so she has kept the historic charm to it and renovated the inside. It's really neat if you get a chance to walk through. They kept all the original floors and just finished that project there. They're putting the tile down in the kitchen now, and really beautiful project. Then south of that on lot, I don't have it in front, I believe it's lot R, just to the south of their building. They are working to create a really neat courtyard gateway for the village center there. Building 2 or 3 barns that would give it a really historic look and feel that complement the brick farmhouse there. And I believe, and she'll be here soon to go through her project, but I believe she has a med spa and a couple other, like a heated yoga, some really neat uses that would complement that entire area and be very high quality. Happy to answer any questions I can too.
Next, is there anybody in the audience for or against this that would like to speak? Anybody online? Okay. Questions, Sharon?
No, thank you.
Oh. Anyone else? All right. Hearing none, should we move to a motion?
I want to, before I make the motion, I want to make sure I understand that we can put them both together with the same verbiage that I have on the first one.
I was going to suggest we do them both just independently.
Yeah, we need to do them separately. We need to vote
Okay,
on the
that's what I was-
waivers. Yeah, we need to vote on the waivers first on the plat. So a little trickier.
Okay,
You can't approve all 4 waivers at once, though, in one motion if you would choose to.
That's what I was gonna ask. I'm ready to do that, but I wanted to make sure I did it right, so you didn't have to have me do it again.
You're doing great. Keep going.
Okay. All right, here's, oh dear. I move that docket 2023-43 DPA petition for the plan amendment approval to provide for the development of 7 single-family lots on 2.3 acres platted in section 10, including the waivers as listed in the findings of fact, be conditionally approved, subject to the resolution of the items noted within the comment letters, exhibit 5A and 5B, based on the findings as presented. Did I get it all in there?
Yeah, I think we need to make a motion just on the waivers
All right,
first,
waivers first.
just on the plat case. Avoid the DPR for a minute. So we have to, yeah, we need a motion on waivers first,
Okay.
just the waivers on the plat.
Then I would make the motion that we approve the waivers as listed in the findings for the development plan.
No, the plat.
Plat.
There you go.
Did I get it?
Yes.
Second.
Roll call, please.
David Franz,
Aye.
Mary Grabanowski,
Aye.
Larry Jones,
Aye.
Sharon Walker,
Aye.
Cindy Madrick.
Aye.
Now I go back to the one.
Now just the plat approval.
Okay, so I'm not combining them like we said. All right, I can do that. That makes more sense to me. Okay. I move that docket 2023-43-42, because that's the plat. Let me
Correct.
start over.
Correct.
All right. I move that docket 2023-42 PPA, a petition for the approval of the primary plat amendment subdivided 2.708 plus or minus acres, previously platted as Block A, Section 9, into 7 single-family lots being zoned planned unit development, the Holiday Farms PUD, be conditionally approved, subject to the resolutions of the items noted within the comment letters, exhibit 5A and 5B, based on the findings of fact as presented with waivers as presented. Drop and a period.
Should we read those in?
So those-
Go ahead and read the 4.
Okay, now I can do the next.
No, it's just the rest of the motion.
Yeah, the design, the specific waivers.
Or
It's items 1 through 4, right there.
okay, I must be lost because
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
not
think she is.
understanding what you're telling me.
I don't think she needs to.
Because we already
That's
voted
fine.
on the
I think we're
waivers.
just.
I was gonna say, I thought I covered that.
We got it.
Yeah,
All
you're
right.
fine.
Oh, is there a second?
Second.
Roll vote.
Cindy Madrick,
Aye.
Sharon Walker,
I,
Larry Jones,
Aye.
Mary Grabanowski,
Aye.
David Franz.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Next up, we have Larson Design Group.
So
Excuse me.
What?
Did we vote on the?
You just did.
The DPA.
Yeah, the
now I gotta
DPA.
go back and do the DPA, don't I?
Oh, yes.
Right.
Okay, Larry, ready?
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. I move that docket number 2023-43 DPA, a petition for the development plan amendment approval to provide for the development of 7 single-family lots on 2.708 acres plus or minus, be platted as section 10 of Holiday Farms, being in the PUD planned unit development zoning district, be conditionally approved, subject to the resolutions of the items noted within the comment letters, exhibit 5A and 5B, based on the findings as presented.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Sharon Walker,
Aye.
Cindy Madrick,
Aye.
David Franz,
Aye.
Mary Grabanowski,
Aye.
Larry Jones.
Aye.
Motion passes.
We all good so far? All right, so then Larson Design Group, FedEx Gateway Building Expansion, 10301 Bennett Parkway. Lost when he walks over there.
The petition before you is for approval of a development plan amendment to provide for the expansion of an existing gateway building for new security screening equipment for the FedEx facility on Bennett Parkway. To orient you as to the location of the site on the screen, I have the overall site outlined in black. And to help you, 106th Street is to the north. Bennett Parkway extends running north-south along the west side of the subject property. And the specific area for the building addition is located here to the south of the main building. And I've tried to blow that up down here in the lower right-hand portion of the map. This white building that you see is the existing building, and the proposed building addition is going to be immediately to the east of that. This is the zoning map, which shows the entire site is zoned I2 urban industrial. That is also consistent with what's to the north and to the east of the site. To the southwest, you have SU7, which this is Hoosier Village. But again, the site of the building addition is internal to the overall FedEx property itself. Here is a site plan, again, showing the location of the proposed building addition. I'm going to go to the next slide to zoom in a little bit tighter. Again, this white block that you see is the existing building. What they're proposing to add is this grade portion. It is almost the same size, just slightly smaller in square footage. And again, the purpose of this, the gateway building provides security screening for all incoming out and outgoing vehicles to the FedEx facility. The proposal is to expand the existing building, almost doubling the existing facility size with a 2,350 square foot addition. This site, or this drawing is also, I'm sorry, I was going to go to a landscape plan. I took that one out. The landscape plan that has been submitted is compliant with the requirements. To give you an idea of what the building will look like, on this first drawing, this is the south building elevation, and this lighter area is the existing building, and this darker area is the proposed new construction. All the materials are to match the existing in color and in pattern. We have the lower 2/3 of the exterior walls will be a precast wall with a red brick pattern to match the existing building. The remaining upper third will be precast wall matching the texture and color of the existing building. There will be no roof mounted mechanical equipment on top of the building. It is all ground mounted, so we don't have to worry about screening of that. That is the south elevation. As we look at the north elevation, again, they've utilized the same drawing style, where the darker area is the building addition. And I believe it just measures total of, I believe it's 18 feet tall. This lighter area is the existing structure. And then we have both the west elevation and the east elevation. Information for the lighting on the building has been provided. They are wall packs as shown. However, the petitioner did not note within these cut sheets as to what intensities. They just did not circle or identify specifically what the types of lighting will be. So that is one of the items we've asked them to clarify, which is one of the reasons why we're recommending a conditional approval of this development plan amendment. There are truly just some minor items that need to be clarified for this. We think it'll be taken care of in one round of revisions, and then we'll be ready to move forward to a pre-construction conference and the release of building permits for this development, should it be approved. Staff is in position for favorable recommendation of the conditional approval. I'll be glad to answer any questions you might have. I believe the petitioner is online via Zoom.
I'd just be kind of interested to know how they inspect the vehicles from that kind of building.
Pardon me?
I just think it's interesting that they're inspecting all the vehicles coming and going from the property from a building that isn't adjacent to the drive. But it might be some technology I don't understand.
Well, if this plan might answer your question, if I'm understanding your question, the main drive into the site is through this avenue or through this pathway, and it runs immediately adjacent to the security buildings. So any vehicular traffic in or out of the site is going to have to go through this area.
So I can elaborate on that. My name is Brad Roman with Larson Design Group. We set up this design in working with FedEx Ground. The new expansion is for workers of the warehouse in and out. So it's really the traffic, the truck traffic in and out to the warehouse does get scanned via cameras of that nature, but the expansion is really to expand their security equipment. So right now it's a very small area. I think it's 2 metal detectors, 1 in, 1 out. They're bringing in x-ray machines, turnstiles, metal detectors, so that workers of the warehouse are scanned going into the facility, and then as well as they come out of the facility. So it's really for the pedestrian traffic into and out of that warehouse.
Okay, yeah, that makes a little more sense from
Yeah, that does make.
what we're looking at. So, okay. Any other commission member questions? Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against? Okay. You're gonna make another motion, Sharon?
I'm gonna do this because it's pretty straightforward here.
There we go.
I move the petition 2023-41-DBA, a development plan amendment to provide for the expansion of an existing gateway building for new security screening equipment being in the Urban General Industrial I-2 district be conditionally approved based upon the findings of fact as presented with the conditions as noted in the staff report and subject to the resolution of the comments within the attached comment letter exhibit 5.
Second. All right. Roll call vote, please.
Cindy Madrick,
Aye.
David Franz,
Aye.
Mary Grabanowski,
Aye.
Larry Jones,
Aye.
Sharon Walker.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. What else we got? Something else?
Cafe Patitude.
Cafe Patitude, yes. Cafe Patitude.
This is a minor development plan amendment. We're just informing you of administrative approval of this change. Again, Cafe Patitude received development plan approval number of months ago, maybe even 2022. I'm speaking without my notes, so please forgive me. But they came in and wanted to add an awning over the outdoor seating area of their facility. And it did qualify as a minor development plan amendment. So it's our obligation to report to you that this was approved administratively. Here's another rendering of what that looks like. So if you go by and see an awning there and don't remember it, hopefully now you do.
There we go.
So that is the extent of Cafe Pettichu minor DPA.
Okay.
This does not require a vote, is that correct?
Correct.
Got it. For just for information purposes.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Roger. Last item we have is the 2024 Plan Commission schedule.
Yes, at last month's meeting, we presented a draft to you, and that was subject to approval of the holidays by the town council. We did find that the holidays that are now being proposed by the town council did affect one or two dates on that calendar. Just a matter of one of the dates was a filing on a Monday. There's now a holiday on that Monday, so that filing deadline will be moved to the next day on Tuesday. The town council, though, will not officially adopt the holiday schedule until their November, I believe their second November meeting. And so this will be coming back to you for final approval once they finally adopt the official holiday schedule for 2024.
So I had noticed that we're meeting on Juneteenth isn't really June 20th, it's the third Monday. Unless they're going to decide that we don't need to celebrate Juneteenth at Zionsville, which I think would be
So
stupid.
we're going to need to wait to see what is formally adopted.
Okay.
You got it. All right. Anything else?
I move we adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
David looks really nice.
Hey, I'm on camera. I stuck it out. Thanks a lot. See everybody next week, next month.